So today we are going to be doing a butterfly survey. Now overall on site we have had 22 different species. We're going to see how many we can find today. So first of all we have our butterfly survey sheet. Now we need to pop our date, the year, the temperature, our start time and our finish time, and how fast the wind is and in what direction. This will essentially help us sort of track the data over time, whether certain butterflies come out at certain temperatures or wind speeds. Our sheet also has the different butterflies in their sort of separate families and in their sort of order of how related they are. So we have our blue butterflies here, we have sort of our more random assortment of butterflies, some fritillaries, and then the whites and the browns, as well as the skippers at the top. So overall, our surveying area is broken up into 12 different zones. These zones are sort of defined by the different habitats, because the different habitats should hopefully mean different butterfly species. So we're starting off in zone 1, which is sort of more of a shaded woodland area with a bit of hedgerow as well. So butterflies to expect here, we should hopefully get some speckled woods, as these guys like to sort of fly in the nice patches of sunlight in between all of the shade. Sometimes the butterflies will like to go on the sunny banks like these, as they are ectothermic, meaning that they require heat from the sun to be able to fly. So we ended up having nothing for zone 1, but we're moving on to zone 2 now, which is our car park. So we're now in zone 3, which is a nice little loop around our lake. We have some nice patches of reeds, as well as some patches of flowers too. So we had 2 meadow browns, 2 small whites, and a large white. The large white I sadly didn't get on film, but you'll just have to trust me on that one. Now, differentiating between our small white and large white can be quite difficult. Now, although they're called small and large, going by size is quite tricky unless you have them next to each other. So the main way that I tell is through the black markings on their wings. Our large white has a much larger covering of black on the tip of its wings, whereas the small white has a much smaller area of black on the tip of its wings. So we are now at the start of zone 4, which follows along the railway line. So we've got a nice bit of scrub and hedgerow to walk along. That is zone 4 done. We only had 3 butterflies in the end, 1 I didn't manage to film, and that white butterfly evading me just at the end, going from zone 4 to zone 5 and then off of the survey route. Now I will put that one as genus specific, as I know it is one of the whites and we can still add that to our data. It just didn't stay still long enough for me to work out which one it was. So now we are on to zone 5, which is a nice little bit of a meadowy area. This one's quite a short one, so I'm not sure if I will find anything. There is a butterfly. It's one of the browns, and it is too small for a meadow brown, so it's just trying to work out whether it's a gatekeeper or a small heath. So the way to tell the difference between the small heath and the gatekeeper is that the gatekeeper has 2 white dots inside the black circle, whereas the small heath has only 1. So that is zone 5, again only with a couple of, a green woodpecker. Hang on. We're now heading on to zone 6, which is a bit more of a meadow. It's just a nice hill up and down, and we'll see what we can find. Now moving on to zone 7, which is a bit more of a scrub and a hedgerow. It is again back on our railway line. So zone 7 has been a bit empty. I had a couple of butterflies, shapes in the distance, but as soon as I saw them go on the floor, they went up and over to where I can't get to. We had nothing recorded there for zone 7, but now we're moving on to zone 8, which is a bit more of some dense hedgerow. We had one singular meadow brown for zone 8, and now we're moving on to zone 9, which is a nice bit of meadow. We've just had our first blue butterfly of the day. So I think we have 7 or 8 species of blue butterfly in the UK. So this one was either a common blue or a brown Argus. So those ones can be a little bit tricky to tell apart. So I'll check my pictures later on and see what one it is. So we're now in zone 10, which has a bit of a mishmash. We have some open areas for our lake, we have a little bit of some grassland, as well as a tiny bit of hedgerow too. So we only ended up having one butterfly in zone 10, which was one of the whites, but as soon as I got near it to take a picture, it flew straight up. Now we're in zone 11, which is a nice bit of hedgerow in one of our nature reserves. Not much in zone 11, just one small white. Sadly didn't get it on film, but now we're moving on to zone 12, which is our last zone, which is a bit more of an open space with a bit of shrubbery too. So that brings us to the end of this video. Now I will pop the totals up on screen, but I believe that's 5 new species for one survey, which is quite nice. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to do more butterfly surveys and hopefully add more species.